Hello there, my beautiful thinking people, you. Welcome back to our channel. This is the Drumph channel, where we discuss all things Drumph, or Trump. So, I just want to quickly check in with you guys and share these thoughts with you. I watched the entire Democratic debate in Nevada, and I was very much disturbed by some things that I saw. First of all, Amy Klobuchar. Unfortunately, I saw her just get smashed over and over again, and she looked really helpless at times. She had a couple of good moments against Bloomberg and against Mr. Buttigieg. But all in all, not a great performance. Mike Bloomberg, wow, he was totally off the wall garbage. I didn't see anything impressive with this guy whatsoever. He is unable to answer a straight accusation, which obviously seems to be more than just an accusation. He seemed to run from all of them. Even when challenged by moderators, he still would not directly answer the questions or even roundabout answers. So, not very impressed with that gentleman whatsoever. Pete Buttigieg. When I first saw Pete Buttigieg come on the scene, I was actually impressed by his composure and demeanor and his vocabulary, and the way he presented himself was really amazing in my opinion. Not so during the debate. During the debate, it looked like he was trying too hard to impress, like he was trying to match some earlier performance. But the things that were coming out of his mouth didn't ring true or sincere at all. So I really lost a lot of my admiration for him during that debate. That is for certain. He wasn't good at answering any of the things that were leveled his way either. He definitely tried to deflect and obfuscate. So, again, not very impressed there. Now, Mr. Biden, I love Joe Biden. I don't love many of the things he's been involved in the past. And I do not love the way he talks to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a different type of individual. Joe Biden is a different type of individual. Joe Biden talking at Bernie Sanders the way he did does not suit Joe Biden. So it comes off disingenuous to me, somebody who's watched Joe Biden for years, felt for him, felt along with him while he dealt with the losses in his life and all these other issues. I really did like that guy a lot. I still like Joe Biden, but he's lost that certain something that takes me off of his side now. Elizabeth Warren, remember her? What an amazing performance. Elizabeth Warren blew me out of my chair. She sliced and diced Mike Bloomberg like he was an onion, and then discarded all the chaff. She just ripped Buttigieg. And I liked the way she actually defended Klobuchar, although she was wrong, but she did step to her defense, and I really did like that. Now, whether that's just her being a woman with another woman there, I really don't care the reason. It was nice that she did it. Now, but again, let me get into the defense of it, because I guess in order to understand it properly, when I say I disagree with her. Amy Klobuchar has been part of the establishment, working directly with South American leaders, their policies, and how they would or would not affect the United States of America. For her not to know the name, even the transition between the last president and the present, and the differences between the two, I'm sorry, that's something she really needed to know. The way she tried to come back with the knowledge that she should have had in the first debate, you could tell she had just rehearsed it, probably just before coming on the debate stage, because she still couldn't get his name down as if she had actually known it. It came out like something she was just told an hour before, and she was struggling a little bit to get it out. As far as his policies and everything else, I mean, honestly, she failed there. So there was no defense for her, but it was nice to see Elizabeth Warren try. So I give Elizabeth Warren the number 1 win. The number 2 win is obviously Bernie Sanders. He did very well, very, very well with what he was given. If you watch the debate very closely, you'll find that when he was called upon, his name was called out, he was not given the chance to respond. He had to almost force himself in there to get an opportunity to respond. And he couldn't respond to all the people that challenged him. They challenged him and they left him hung out to dry. And I'm sure it was totally on purpose. And I remember them saying, yeah, don't worry, Bernie, we're going to get to you. We're going to get to you. We're going to get to you. And then they gave him a little bit, but they cut him off. And if anybody else cuts him off, they don't try to moderate and say, hey, guys, let him finish his answer. He gets cut off ad nauseum, and it's okay. If he tries to cut into anybody else's, it becomes a brouhaha. When everybody's attacking him and he doesn't get a chance to respond, I'm sure that must have been extremely frustrating for him. Standing there with his hand up, I saw him switch arms a couple of times, and it just didn't look good. That being said, him having a second place finish gave him a first place finish because of the way they treated him. Because of the way the moderators treated him, they boosted him above Elizabeth Warren because it was too obvious that they're trying to sabotage his attempts to go further. Let me give you some examples. When you have Chuck Todd referring to him, not as Bernie Sanders, but as, well, the socialist, Bernie Sanders, the socialist, trying to drill it into our brains that he's a socialist. Every time he says that, the first thing that comes to my mind is, Chuck, where is your education? Where are your manners? If I said to you, Chuck, I'm a Muslim, and every time you refer to me, you say, the Jewish guy, Clyde, the Jewish guy. No, Chuck, I am a Muslim. Well, you know Clyde, the Jewish guy. Now, I'm not a Muslim and I'm not Jewish. I'm using those to show the contrast. It just should not happen. Bernie has been forthcoming and transparent and said he is a social democrat. He's a democratic socialist. Social democracy. It's something that all of these free countries have been exercising for many, many years. Now, all of a sudden, it's a bad word because Bernie's using it? Or is it because they're all threatened that they would not have the power that they have currently if Bernie is the next president? He takes money out of politics. That means no more free trips to the villas, guys. No more gifts arriving at your door with like jewelry or cigars or whatever, expensive liquors, or all that would stop, because he would make it wrong to accept anything from a corporate donor of any kind. He would work to take away Citizens United, which means the powerful money doesn't have a say. The individual would have a say. One man, one vote. It has always been that way from way back. One man, one vote. Not one corporation, one vote. So if you have 500 corporations and you're one man, you now have 501 votes? No, that doesn't slide with me. So every time the moderators referred to Bernie, they called him a socialist. The socialist, the socialist. Socialism isn't not bad anyways. Socialism is not a bad word. Go look it up. Stop letting these people twist our minds with all this deviant chatter that they come up with. A socialist is basically a citizen, a society-type citizen, somebody who likes a society that works together in cooperation to get things done. Otherwise, guess what, guys? Let's get rid of all socialism in America. That means each little portion of road that is connected to your property, you're responsible to maintain, fix, relay, paint. Every piece of sidewalk anywhere near your property is something you're responsible to maintain. And if it gets cracked or broken by a car smashing into it, you have to replace it. Every street light out of there, if it's within proximity to your place, you're responsible to change those bulbs, to install the street lamp, and to make sure it's well maintained and always working. Because if I drive by your section of the street and it's dark and I smash into the sidewalk, not only do you have to pay for the sidewalk, you have to fix my car. So now you're going to have to go where? To an insurance company to get money? But wait a second. There's no socialism. So that means the insurance company charges you dollar for dollar. Whatever it costs them plus profit. Okay. You want to get rid of socialism in your country? You don't like your roads, your bridges, your train tracks, your tunnels. You don't like that stuff? You don't like the lights and street lamps that are all over the place? You don't like the infrastructure that has been laid for you with electricity and internet, etc.? Then get rid of all your socialism. But that means all the corporations give back all the tax breaks. Because when you get a tax break, it's the little man who has to make up the difference so the government can function. If you're paying zero tax because you're exempt for this and that and the other thing, and you bought a new car for your business and trucks and a fleet of trucks and you had them all overhauled and all that becomes your write-off is the little man's burden. You're socialist. All of the elites are socialists. They're getting social welfare from the little people. Bernie Sanders is the only one who's brought that to light in a perfect layout. So, moderators calling him a socialist. First of all, do your homework, look up the word. It's not a bad thing. Communist, which is what Bloomberg referred to him as. Mike, I'm going to call you Mike. Because really you're not worthy of Mr. Bloomberg, Mr. Mike. No, you're just Mike. Mike, you're full of BS. Saying that was one of the lowest, nastiest things you could have done. Because when you connect the word communism to any person, you are automatically getting people who have no open minds to judge that person wrongly and harshly. And some of those people could even judge him violently. And if that's what you're looking for, you are all scum who do that. If you use that word to vilify him and anything happens to him, You are all scum. Bernie is an old, wonderful, caring soul. Is he perfect? No. Is Biden perfect? No. Elizabeth Warren perfect? No. Mike Bloomberg perfect? Hell no. Anyways, okay. You just heard a little bit of my bias there, right? Bloomberg, absolute write-off. As far as the rest, they have redeeming qualities. They do. But I picked the two winners because I know for a fact, I listened to them all objectively, they were the two winners. And Bernie gets a pass to number one plus because of the garbage he had to deal with. These guys showed they were not unbiased moderators at all. They could even lose their status as journalists, in my mind, because if you're going to be a journalist, you should be objectively uncovering the facts. You shouldn't hide facts. Yeah, well, you're a socialist and, people like you, Bernie, but they're really afraid of the fact that you're a socialist. Okay, first of all, I'm being Bernie right now. I'm not a socialist. I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys. I'm a social democrat. I believe in democratic socialism. I'm not a socialist, and I'm not a communist. I think there are parts of capitalism that work very well. But when greed trumps capitalism, there has to be a check and balance. That's Bernie. But he doesn't talk like that. You know why? Because Bernie is single track. He knows what he's up for. He knows what he wants. He knows what the right and wrong is. And he just follows that right track. He has no ability to use euphemisms or parallels in a way that really is coherent for other people to be able to pick up. And they were right. They said, Bernie, people who don't understand you, they're going to take things wrong. And I agree. That's why there's everybody else talking on Bernie's behalf. They don't all represent exactly Bernie's views, but they're trying their best to explain to everybody what those views actually entail. I thought it was a very entertaining debate. I thought they did very well because they actually did try to nail down differences between them. I think the one most deserving of the attacks was Michael Bloomberg, and I think he got the brunt of them, which he should have. He bought his way to that point, and I think they should have hammered him. Bernie, yes, you want to definitely point out your differences from Bernie, because if I'm looking to go opposite from Bernie, then yes, I should be with you if you have viewpoints that suit me. What they did with that union, the culinary union, I think that was, again, totally disingenuous. They made it out as if Bernie's supporters hate the union. Like, I don't understand where their thinking comes from. If my question to him would have been, Bernie, is there anything you can do about some of your supporters who run off the rails? And if he says, you know what? We did all of our best. I don't think those people are my supporters. I think they could be, who knows, paid antagonists. They could be Russian plants. They could be anybody else. And if they are my supporters, I've made it very clear that's not the way I roll. And I would appreciate it if nobody else rolled like that beside me. There's not much else I can do. But I deeply regret that those remarks were made or those gestures were sent that offended the culinary union. Because as you can see, I have the majority of unions supporting me. That must mean that I'm not against unions. But who knows? You could say, well, Bernie, you might have some personal bias against the culinary union because at one time eating made you fat, so you don't like the culinary union. You can make up anything. I don't think Bernie has a malicious bone in his body. I think he wants fairness. He wants everybody to participate and have a voice. And I think they're going to get it. So, smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit the bell. Don't miss any more content that's going to be coming out. And remember my motto: never give up and never give in. But keep an open mind, because knowledge is power. Don't sell yourself short. Bye for now.